Welcome to Liquid Alchemy, a podcast dedicated to giving you spiritual tools to amplify your cosmic energy so that your highest self can weave into your life with ease, like liquid alchemy. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Liquid Alchemy Podcast. This is Dia Sengupta, your host today, and you can find me on Instagram at Love the Alchemist or on my website, lovethealchemist.com. And today's episode is all about being connected to your authentic voice. So, welcome to 2020. This podcast is coming out in the new decade on the first day, and I am so thankful to have you here and so thankful that you listen to the meditations that I put out every single week. We are not messing around here. We are doing deep work on clearing our subconscious so that we can bring our wildest dreams into our current reality. And this is no joke. This is really big work that we're doing. It is weird and it is so wonderful. I think that the most important thing is that I share content with you that will help you evolve and transform. I have been really into Tony Robbins this last week or so. I mean, I don't know what sparked it. I had this memory of this ex-boyfriend of mine who is really into self-care and really into just following what his personal truth is. And he and his brother are really into Tony Robbins. And he shared this login with me to Tony's inner circle. I don't know the exact name of what it's called. And I realized that he shared that with me, maybe a year and a half ago, and I still have not opened it. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why have I not even tapped into that? That's so valuable, so important. And I'm also into spiritual growth. And I've been thinking about what I want in a life partner and in someone that I'm building a relationship with. And personal growth is number one on that list. And the reason why is because Tony Robbins talks about the way that happiness is not necessarily a goal, it's a byproduct. And happiness, studies have shown, is a byproduct of personal growth. So if you want to be with someone who is happy, who is basically someone who could be your muse, then that means they have to be committed to personal growth on some level. So the whole point of telling you this is that we are in a new decade. This is a fresh start in many ways because of numerology, number one. Number two, it's not just the turn of a century. Think back to 2000. What were you doing then? I was a child. I was bopping around listening to NSYNC, and I remember when it was 1999 and it was the New Year's of 2000, and all of the things that were happening in my life were so special and so amazing. I was surrounded by family that following year where I was with them constantly. And I'm not just saying my immediate nuclear family. I was with my cousins. I have some of the best memories of my life from that year. My cousins and I joined together and made a crazy band and really got in touch with our voices and having this partnership and like learning about life, love, business at such a young age. And I think that, and it's more that we were just kind of along for the ride with my parents and my aunts and uncles and what they had going on. And I would say that the year 2000 really shaped me. So, what was the year 2000 doing in your life then? And how does it kind of connect with right now? We're going through this shift where we've had 20 years into a century, and we are no longer at the beginning, at the cutting edge of the century. We are in it. And historically, when you look at the early 1900s, the early 1800s, the early 1700s, and so on and so forth, you have this realization that it's time to continue to innovate. And people have a tendency during this time to get very expansive in their creativity. So, the way that we are seeing it today is that people are expressing themselves and expressing themselves freely because we have the internet. We are now able to see that other people like the same things that we like. And a little niche is no longer a little niche. It's massive and it's huge because the world is big. There are tons of people, and in previous generations and in previous centuries, we didn't know that people had the same interests or that other people didn't view meditation in the same way. We weren't necessarily able to understand that the world is big, that there are many people like us. And right now, what's happening is that because we are able to see that there are so many people like us, we begin to lose sight of our individuality, especially with this whole thing of curb the ego. I mean, this is like pure 90s stuff, and 90s are really trending right now. And the 90s, I really think that the 90s were all about ego, raging ego. And the ego is not bad. The ego is really amazing. The ego allows us to know that I am me and you are you, and we are here to do specific things and to transform in our own ways. And it's what keeps us sane in a way. It's what keeps us connected to our present reality. And when you see people who have ego imbalances, it can manifest as bipolar disorder. It can manifest as someone who is always in a toxic relationship with someone who is emotionally abusive because they don't have enough of an ego to say, you know what? I don't deserve this. So, a healthy, balanced ego is someone who is independent but not disconnected, someone who is radiating, creating, building, and essentially serving their purpose, whatever that purpose may be, and bringing it forward to share with others in a way that gives, not takes, and is something that it's kind of like they stand for something. And when you stand for something and you know exactly what you stand for, you are able to contribute in a meaningful way because there's no one that can come along and tell you you are wrong in everything you're doing and XYZ isn't right. You will be able to know and be able to say, actually, based on my experience with this situation in my past, this is what I know about this current situation. And this is why what I'm bringing to the table is valuable. Not necessarily in a combative way, just in a way where you're saying, look, hey, I've done this before. When people have reacted the way you've reacted, then, this is how it plays out. So let's just put it all out there. So that's why healthy ego is important. It helps you build relationships with other people. And that is what life is all about. Without relationships, there is nothing. And that's why we really need to get our shit together, because if we're showing up and we are not being in alignment with ourselves, if we are just all over the place, then we can't have meaningful relationships. We can't have real friendships. We can't communicate to others and really have something that enhances not only our own lives, but the lives of other people. And also, like, think about the true friendships that you see and the way that they inspire you and make your heart grow. We are true pack animals. Social acceptance is very, very, very important. And without social acceptance, we feel isolated. Our confidence goes down. Our ability to feel prana and have life force flowing through us just completely drops. It's why people feel depressed. It's why people feel unhinged. It's why people feel like they have to go and essentially do things that are bad for their bodies, whether it's binging out on sugar or like whatever food is in your pantry that shouldn't be there in the first place, or going and partying for 3 days straight or whatever it is. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, but when you are not able to have healthy relationships, you have to have these like crazy out of control vices that are not just vices, but they turn into real life problems. And the reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because this podcast is something that I am being completely unfiltered on, unscripted, and just authentically real with you so that you can step up in your own life. Because a lot of people, what we have going on in society today is not okay. We have a bunch of people trying to achieve perfection, and perfection is essentially normality, and all of it is meaningless and not real. I can't tell you how many friends I have had over the years who are not authentic with themselves, and they go down inauthentic paths, and they lose a lot of their friends. They pick up addictions. They isolate themselves. It's a number of things, and these people are not happy. And when you are limiting your own light to please these people who are not even happy themselves, you are doing yourself and the world the biggest disservice ever. If you're sitting in a relationship and you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, and not in a way where it's like, you know what, I've behaved badly, I should probably like watch what I'm doing, but it's rather, I can't be myself in front of this person, and yet I'm calling them a very close friend of mine. That is not okay, and that is not normal, and we are not going to do this anymore. We are not going to normalize it. And we have a choice to either allow ourselves to express ourselves freely and in ways that are positive and grow connection and improve our direct environments and ourselves. Or we can pretend that we don't have a voice and that we don't have a personality and that we don't have any sense of style. We have no preferences. We just go with what's on trend and what's cool. And doing that is honestly, it's unfulfilling. I did this a few years ago. I launched a holistic supplement company called Jiva Buksa, and I essentially told my dad about the idea, and we came up with the name together. And the name in and of itself is a complex Sanskrit, like it's this thing that means essentially like spirit, life force that's immortal. And then baksa is like food and being nourished. And essentially, I was marketing this as edible beauty care. And everyone at the time was like, people were into it or they were not into it at all. And a lot of people were like, what the fuck? Edible beauty care? Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And now I see it everywhere. And I honestly had such a tough time with dealing with all of the backlash of people who in my life were giving me advice, and these are random people, or I honestly did tons of pop-up events for this company, and I still have it, and I'm bringing it back in this new year because I'm ready, and we'll get into why in terms of numerology this is a great year to do what you want to do. But essentially, I was dimming my own voice and my own light because random people who have no idea what they're talking about, who are quote unquote normal, were telling me that it's never going to work out and that this is not a thing or it's not going to happen for me because of whatever. And I honestly took something that had so much potential and I was like, okay, I'm going to just back away slowly because this is so scary to be out here with my own voice and to be rejected because we are pack animals. And I'm extremely social. You are too, even if you're an introvert, because we are biologically hardwired to need each other. And the number one reason why relationships break up is because the man feels like the woman doesn't need him. And there are studies that show this. This isn't like a dynamic of trying to share something that's not relevant, but this is a real thing. It's when people don't feel needed, they don't feel like they should stay or stick around because they feel rejected. They feel rejected by someone in the pack. And it has a crazy response on your adrenal system, on your mental health, on your physical health. It affects everything. And we are coming into a number 4 year. So number 4 is all about stability. And I actually am going to read you a passage from a book by Tess Whitehurst. And it's from The Art of Bliss. And it talks about the number 4. So the number 4 is a number of prosperity. And that means this year, everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, this is just going to be one of those years where it's great. It's an enjoyable time and you will get a lot out of it, especially if you step up and start embracing your authentic voice. Because when we are in a state of prosperity, a state of stability, not just on a personal level, but on a global level, then that is the time where you can step out and not be rejected. Or there's less chance of you being rejected and you having that be something that is deeply scarring to you. So the number 4, as Tess Whitehurst describes, in countless cultures, 4 is considered to be the number of the earth and the entire visible world. There are 4 seasons in a year, 4 corners in a room, and 4 building blocks to all physical matter in both ancient cosmologies, earth, air, water, and fire, and modern ones, protons, neutrons, electrons, and electron neutrinos. So she goes on to talk about the ways in which you can use the number 4 and all of the elements to increase your own personal prosperity. So crystals that are associated with the number 4 are jade and citrine, and those are 2 that I have for today's meditation. And she also talks about the way in which you can elevate your home and why it's really important to make your home feel prosperous, like you're never running out of anything. Because the more you do that, the more you will start to invite prosperity into your life and you will match that vibration. So, different ways that you can do this. She gives a bunch of examples of essentially putting a bath mat down in your bathroom that makes you feel like you're at a spa, having tons of underwear and socks so that you never feel like you're running out of things, and also putting special things in the prosperity area of your home that make you feel wealthy just by looking at it. And so the way that I invite prosperity into my home is I have essentially a money shrine, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on this podcast before, but essentially I have a candle in the money area of my home. I have crystals, and sometimes I have affirmations. Sometimes um, I have jewelry there to attract the energy of wealth. And I also sometimes put just a bowl of salt if I feel like I've been spending or shopping a lot, then I put a bowl of salt there to kind of calm the energy down of whatever emotional trigger is causing me to go on a shopping spree, because no one just does that just to do it. It comes from something emotional. I love clothes, but I also love the way I feel in clothes, and that's what it's all about. So if I'm not feeling good, sometimes I go out and I buy things because I love the way I feel when I wear something, and that's why I do that. Other ways that I do this in my home are I buy everything in bulk. I always have extra of everything and I stock it up. I just bought 8 jars of face cream, and that doesn't include everything else. I stocked up on serums. I stocked up on I did a whole binge buy of my skincare routine, and that makes me feel amazing. If I need something, if I need Band-Aids, they're there. I don't have to worry about it. So make your home this place of bounty. You need something, it's there. And doing that will help shift you in your day-to-day life, because you're not going to be like, oh my God, now I have to run to the store and do all these things and I'm so stressed. It just takes it out of it. And actually, I learned this from a podcast interview that Ty Lopez did with Mark Cuban, who is a self-made billionaire. And Mark Cuban said, to save a few dollars, he buys everything in bulk. He's always done it, and he always will continue to do it. And I was really inspired by that, and that's what got me into buying things in bulk. And now I'm obsessed with it. It's amazing, and you should try it. So my point is, we are in a place environmentally, and this means your energetic environment of this year, where everything is at a place where it is good. So now is the time to take chances and to really go for it and to not play it small. And by showing up for this podcast and this meditation, you are building a subconscious mind that positively serves you. our brains are hardwired to feel fear, danger, anxiety. We are not used to having a surplus of anything. We are animals at our core. And when you think about life like that, when you think about the way that our ancestors lived, everything is so different because we don't live in a cave. We have electricity. We are essentially functioning in civilized ways, and our brains haven't developed as much as our society has. And the most important thing is that you build a positive self esteem. So, we are going to be working a lot with the lower chakras today because you can be connected to your authentic voice or your throat chakra and not have stable foundations and not have clear understanding of your desires so that you can create from an authentic voice. And if you're going to share that with the world, you have to have a strong solar plexus or strong self-worth and an open heart to be able to share and not care if you're loved back, and to be able to know that the wisdom you're connected with is true and very real. And I am saying all of this to you because I actually was told earlier today that someone, a person of a person that I know, listens to this podcast and it, quote unquote, got weird. And honestly, at first I was like, okay, whatever. The whole point here is to get weird. Do you think your subconscious is normal? Do you think being normal is normal? Do you think that the way we've been moving on a societal level is positive? We are hitting a breaking point. People are crazy. And I don't mean crazy in the way that they are, like people are hiding from themselves, is what I'm saying. They are crazy. They are not facing what's going on. There are more bipolar people than you can even realize. It's because we are hitting this point where we are putting so much stress on ourselves because we are not allowing for fun, for creativity, for our subconscious to really unleash itself. And newsflash, this work shouldn't be normal, because if it were normal, it would mean that everyone does it. And if everyone did it, which is the ultimate goal, then we would be living in a beautiful society where people are not indoctrinated with student debt and credit card debt or consumerism for no purpose. I mean, honestly, if you are looking at today's society, there is more bad than there is good, and it's time for all of us to step up. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And the goal is for your life to be better, for your friends' lives to be better. And if this podcast inspires you in any way, please share it. This is for us together. And it's not woo-woo. I mean, it is woo-woo in the meditation portion, but there are deep reasons why we need to look at our society and our economy and really step up and get weird and break out of the mold. Because if we are not transforming, we will not be happy, as I mentioned earlier in this podcast. And it's time for us to get to a state where we are happier, because we've never seen more depression. We've never seen more loneliness. And yet we have all this technology. We have all this access to capital, most of us. And what are we doing with it? Not great things. So I hope you enjoyed today's meditation. We're about to head into it. So slide into a comfortable position, and I want you to just start inhaling deep breaths and exhaling. I was very riled up during this podcast, and so this is something that is going to be an energizing meditation. It's great to do at the beginning of the day or any time that you really just need a spark of motivation. You deserve to be motivated. You deserve to be inspired by anything you want, and you deserve to express yourself. The elixir for today's meditation is peppermint tea, pearl powder, mucunya, and it's all blended together with a dash of lion's mane. This is an elixir that you can also add to coffee. So if you want to do coffee as the base, you could. And you could do a hint of peppermint oil along with the mucunya and the lion's mane and the pearl powder. And you just want to make sure that all of these are blended well together, and then also add in MCT oil. The reason why we're adding the MCT oil is so that you can activate your brain. We are getting into the frontal cortex because we are growing, we are expanding, and that is what the lion's mane does for your frontal cortex. And it essentially makes you operate in ways that are smarter. And the goal of doing these meditations is to bring more ease into your life, to bring more progression, to allow you to connect in with what it is your mind's eye is trying to show you, so that you can ground it down and change your life. And when you change your life, it just becomes a domino effect, and you end up changing the world, whether you think you do or not. You do. So I want you to grab your elixir, and I want you to start to think about all the things in your life that you love. Is it your home? Your friendships? Your family? Your favorite foods and your ability to taste? To smell? Your health? What is it for you? As you feel the energy of that gratitude, allow that gratitude to fill your cup, to radiate into your elixir. And I want you to envision the words abundant, grateful, prosperous, and daring filling your cup. The same way that letters in alphabet soup fill up alphabet soup. Just envision it in your mind's eye. These words filling up your cup. Abundant, grateful, prosperous. Allow it to fill your cup. Daring, and now allow the words ease, allow, positive growth, clear expression to fill your cup as well. Say out loud, I purify this elixir, allowing any negative properties to be released in all directions in time, making this elixir pure in every way. I do this now, and I invite this healing elixir to help me on my meditation journey today. May it work through me to allow me to access my higher self, to communicate with my higher self clearly, and know exactly what to do next, who to call, what to wear, what to say, what to do. And I allow myself to do this with ease if I feel like it is in my best interest to do so. If I feel fear, I will honor that fear. I will sit with that fear and I will release it so that I can return to a state of love. And so it is. Okay, drink your elixir. Inhaling through the nose and doing alternate nostril breathing. Holding down your right nostril and inhaling. Holding for a count of 4. And exhaling for a count of 4 through your right nostril, meaning you close the left. Inhaling for a count of 4 on the right side. Holding for a count of 6 to 8 and exhaling on the left side. Inhaling on the left side, holding and exhaling on the right side. Continue to do this alternate nostril breathing throughout this meditation for as long as you can. I want you to invite the energy of the golden sun into your energetic body, allowing it to move into your energetic body through the top of your head, lining up with all 7 of your chakras and radiating out immediately. The sun begins to get hotter. The heat almost feels sweltering. And you start to notice that anything that is inauthentic, you are keeping in your body, your mind, your energetic field, begins to melt away. It begins to melt out into the universe where it is recycled into neutral energy. And the energy of the sun grows. As more room is created for the authentic voice in your life. Inhaling, holding, exhaling. Continue your alternate nostril breathing. And as the sun increases in strength and amplifies out, clearing out your hand chakras, your wrist chakras, your foot chakras, your ankle chakras, your elbow chakras, your knee chakras, your hip joints, your shoulder joints, your spine, your nasal passages and your sinus cavities, your heart, both your heart chakra and your physical heart, your lungs, they feel warm, your organs. There's a lot clearing out here. Allow it to leave your body. Let it go. Breathe into your heart. The more you allow the warmth to build within you, the more you can release. And as these energies release, begin to see yourself in a mirror. You have your spirit totems with you. These are your spirit guides. They are reflections of you. This is you guiding yourself. What do these guides wish to show you in your energetic body? What are they trying to tell you about your aura, about your physical health? about your heart and your emotions. Allow them to show it to you now. Allow yourself to see it, to receive it, and to understand it. Call upon Spirit. Spirit, I hand these burdens that are keeping me stuck over to you. I release them to you, and I fill myself with love, with a calmness, a deep peace. And I know that you have it handled. Shift my perspective. Allow me to see things with more trust in myself. Allow me to ground into my own energy, to be clear with boundaries, to respect myself, my body, and my home, to respect my partnerships, my love relationships, my friendships, to respect myself and honor myself, and honor the visions that my higher self is sharing with me, to honor my heart and the way my heart's passion lights up my life path. Allow me to share my journey with others in a way that empowers myself. Because when I am empowered, the whole world is empowered. I invite this shift in perspective into my third eye and into my crown chakra to elevate my understanding of myself, my motives, my life purpose, my free will, my decisions, and my trajectory. I accept responsibility that I am in charge of my life path and that the universe is here to help me go after anything it is that I desire. I deserve to have the life that I desire, and anything that is standing in my way is released through a deep yawn or a deep cough. Releasing it out now. say, I feel it and I increase it even stronger. I am grounded in my truth. I respect myself. I love myself. And I am here to make my wildest dreams come true. I am my highest self. I am a dynamic, innovative, gorgeous human being. I am radiant. I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am daring. I express myself clearly. And the message of my soul is spread out through the entire world with the intention to elevate and transform for the highest good. You are so, so, so incredible and amazing. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's podcast. If you at any time have a difficult time releasing, seeing, experiencing any of these things, know that it is because you are releasing. Transformation is not always comfortable, and that is okay. Breathe through it. I believe in you. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.